Chris AMS, hope you're all well. Welcome to another video. Today we are working on a Mercedes B-Class diesel. The customer complaint is that it lacks power and it stalls at junctions. It is an automatic transmission, so its stalling is a bit of a not normal kind of condition. We've carried out a code read on the vehicle and there are no fault codes to lead us in any specific direction. We know that this car has been to another garage and had a couple of the fuel injectors replaced. So we're going to look into seeing if we can figure out what the problem is. So one of our first things we wanted to check is to make sure that the injectors that have been fitted are coded and fitted in their correct positions. If you look here, we've got the little codes on top of the injectors, and using our top-down scan tool, we can go in and we can check the injector coding, and we know that these injectors are fitted in the right holes and have been coded to the vehicle correctly. Right, so our diagnostic process is evidence-based. At the moment, we are looking for evidence for the cause of this not running correctly. In order for us to check the injector coding and stuff, we had to remove this cover which sits underneath these intercooler pipes. So we've unclipped them and pulled them back. Now this pipe here that goes up to the intake manifold actually was full of water, which you shouldn't have in the intake system anywhere at all, kind of thing. And it was, clear, just water in there, kind of thing, which gives us suspicions as to perhaps the cause of the problem. We pulled the air filter box up and pulled the air filter out, and it's got a brand new shiny air filter in it. Now this has given us suspicions that perhaps this has gone through a big puddle and sucked a load of water up into the engine. We'll check the intercooler and stuff in a bit, but what we're going to do next is we're going to carry out our relative compression test to see if we can look at how good the mechanical side of the engine is. So if we've got compression on all the cylinders. This being a diesel engine, it's more difficult to carry out a compression test. It's not like a petrol car where you take the spark plugs out and put a compression tester in. If you wanted to gain access into the cylinders, you would have to pull the injectors out or the glow plugs out and screw it all in, which is a lot of work, and you risk breaking and damaging parts of the fuel or the glow plug system. So we're going to talk you through, and we're going to carry out a relative compression test on this engine to see if we can see the state of health of the engine. Right, so we're ready. We're going to do our relative compression test on it. We're using our Snap-on Verus, the oscilloscope on this. This gives us an ability to do a compression test, but without actually having to dismantle the engine in order to do it. What we're going to be measuring is current draw on the starter motor. Every time the cylinder comes up to compression, it pulls more current through the starter, which we can measure using our current clamp. This cable here, let's get a torch on that so you can see it a bit better. This cable here comes off of the battery and goes down to the starter motor. So we're going to clamp our clamp around there. What we've done also is we've got the engine into a position where it won't start. So I've disconnected all 4 injectors, so the engine will rotate but it won't start. So my lovely assistant Philomena, say hello Phil.
Hello Phil.
He's going to crank the engine over, and then that's it. Now you may even be able to hear a little bit of something being awry there. So Phil's going to take the camera back, and we're going to have a look and see what we've got compression wise. So if you look at our screen, what we're looking at here is each of these peaks is where the engine comes up to compression. So we've got 3 peaks and then we've got a dip, 3 peaks and then a dip, and it's uniform, it follows the track. So we can say that this dip here is the starter motor not needing to pull current because it's not fighting compression. So this big dip here is where there should be a compression spike there, and we haven't got one. That is showing that we've actually got an engine mechanical defect a loss of compression. So either it's got a bad valve or a bent rod or something like that. An engine mechanical issue, that's basically what we're seeing at the moment, and it would require stripping down to investigate further. Now we can take our test of this one step further. We can actually show you identifying which cylinder is actually the culprit. I mean, in this instance, for this customer, we've done what we need to do. We know that the engine's knackered, or there's a problem in it, and it either needs stripping down or replacing. This is just an extra test, just to show you how we would go about it, kind of thing. And then we'll show you what else we found as to the cause of the problem. Right. So in order to ascertain which cylinder has given us the trouble, like I say, we don't really need to do this because we can strip it down anyway, but this is just an extra test. What we've done is I have connected a headlight bulb into our injector wiring to simulate the load of an injector, and we're going to use our AMS clamp to measure current draw, which would be cylinder 1 injecting. When cylinder 1 comes up to compression, it would normally inject fuel, so we know that cylinder 1 is going to be, so we know where we are in our firing order, kind of thing. So that's connected up. We're going to get Phil to give us a bit of a crank over again. Okay, mate. Great stuff. So now we can go and look at our screen and see what's going on. So, looking at our screen, we can see where our big dip out is here, and it actually turns out that we were lucky and we've plumbed injector 1, and that is lining up. This is our injector 1, that's the current draw for injector 1, which we're measuring with that small AMS clamp over there, and it's actually lining up slap down in the middle of where we should have a compression stroke for cylinder 1. So we're going to measure. How we work this out now is via firing order. So if we look at our technical data screen, we can actually see our firing order is 1342. Okay, so we look at our screen, and what we have is cylinder 1, which we know because that's our firing event, 3, 4, 2. Yeah, so we know that's cylinder 1. So if we was plugged into any of the other cylinders, then that line would just move to them, and we would count our firing order from whichever cylinder we're plumbed into. So we are happy that we have found cylinder 1 is our issue. We can tell the customer that. What we're going to do is we actually can show you what we believe the cause of the fault is. So I'm going to disconnect this stuff, we're going to get it up in the air and show you what we found.
Right, go on.
So if you remember from our earlier checks, we found some water in one of the intake pipes. We also have a brand new shiny air filter in the vehicle, which in this instance is a bit suspect. It gives us indication that perhaps this has sucked some water up into the engine at some point. We're having a look at the intercooler, and this is what this is for. I'm just looking at the, really? It's coming up like battery. Stop it. And if you can see there, in between the low battery warning, you can see lots of emulsified oil in the bottom of the intercooler. Now, emulsified oil is caused by oil and water mixing together. Let me see if I can get some of it out. I don't know if my fingers are like that. But yeah, if you look at that the way that is, that's oil and water mixed together. So what that's telling us is that at some point this car has been through a large puddle, it sucked water up past the air filter, someone's then replaced the air filter subsequently. It's come through the intercooler, up inside the engine, into cylinder 1, because we can see that there's damage or the loss of compression on cylinder 1, and it's created some damage somewhere inside that cylinder. Our recommendation to the customer is, I don't think they've had the vehicle out that long, is to take it back to the garage they bought it from, because this is going to need an engine strip down or replacement to rectify it. But as far as diagnosis is concerned, we've identified what it is. It's been into another garage multiple times and had multiple parts replaced not to find the problem. And we've used a methodical search and found what the problem is. non-intrusively. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. Remember to give us a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Also check out our other social media stuff as well. Thanks for watching. Take care.